Thanks very much, Anna, and thanks very much, Mary. That was very refreshing for me, very different from what I'm used to dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And I have 10 pages of notes, but I'm going to talk for about a minute, maybe a few points. It did seem to me, to summarise, really, it was the move from, as you called it, a pragmatic, value-free nation to a value-driven nation, or at least underpinned by values. And it struck me that really the key question that emerges out of this is process. In fact, having taken over, I suppose, an institution just last year and tried to go through a strategic planning exercise, essentially this is what we're doing here. We are saying is what's the mission, vision, values for this state itself. And it's how you get to that process. And you, I suppose, you were talking about the difference between something that happens free running or a bottom-up or top-down process. And there are many ways of doing it. You certainly can't do it, though, by committee. You certainly can't do it by a totally democratic process. It's not the way it happens, or else it's the camel being the horse designed by committee. And it seems to me that what was maybe absent from the dialogue itself, and what is crucial, is the role of leadership. You know, you still have to have leaders, and then you still have to have leaders to lead people. You need the contributions from below. You need the bottom up. You need the public participation, absolutely. But the role of leadership wasn't mentioned at all there. And I think vision frequently comes from leaders. Okay, and I think the public sphere you talked about. I still don't think we have a solution to that there. And you talked about the many aspects of this, how this can happen, and you spoke about the absence of coherence and bringing together this. And I think that's one of the questions we would need to answer, how one would do this to get that consensus, that buy-in to the future visions, values of this nation itself. So I was involved, and take one example, on Your Country, Your Call. I don't know if many of you are familiar with the figures, but there was over 9,000 submissions of that there, and each submission probably involved somewhere on average between 5 and 10 people. And that was developing ideas for economic development in this country, so for innovation. And I do think we should be looking at models of how other countries, like if you look at Israel, the innovation nation. Some of the models we talked about, I think you admit, Mary, are not sustainable without some sort of significant economic growth. And as we know about the demographic change that's happening, well, as that happens, we need to develop a growing economy in order to fund it, in order to support it. And I think the innovation agenda has to be central to what we do, and that involves everything, and in particular education itself. But I would love to see the process whereby we identify 3 or 4 key values for the nation itself and then make all the decisions to underpin that. We're a long way from that. But anyway, so my key question is process and the role of leaders.